Being able to facilitate meetings and workshops is one of the most in-demand skills, and it's something that AI tools simply cannot do. At least yet, which means learning how to facilitate is a skill that will make you irreplaceable in a world with AI. And the reason for this is because when you master facilitation, you also master all of those trending skills that we hear about all the time: communication, teamwork, problem solving, adaptability, which don't just appear on LinkedIn's list of most in-demand skills, but also appear on lists like the World Economic Forum and pretty much any other trending job skills list out there as well. Hi everyone, I'm Saba, and I'm the CEO of Designing Schools, and on this channel, I help you learn the skills and mindsets that are going to give you a human advantage in an AI world. So hit subscribe for insights and strategies for how to be irreplaceable in a world with AI. Now, did you know that one of the biggest barriers to creativity and innovation is actually how we work? You might remember this report that I reference often from Microsoft that shares that nearly 2 in 3 leaders, that's about 60%, say that a lack of innovation or breakthrough ideas on their teams is a real concern. And the problem standing in between innovation, ideas, and people will come as absolutely no surprise to you. It's meetings. Meetings actually don't just come up once, but they come up twice, because not only do we have too many meetings, those meetings are also very, very oftentimes inefficient, which leads to a lack of clarity and then people feeling confused, uninspired, frustrated, and burnt out. So basically, the biggest barrier standing in the way of us being more creative, generating more ideas so that we can solve more problems, generate more revenue, and create opportunities inside our organizations is meetings, which is why learning how to be a facilitator can make you one of the most valuable and irreplaceable people inside your organization. In today's video, I'm going to share with you my framework that will help you turn unproductive meetings into engaging and effective workshops. But it's also going to help you take on challenges that you might otherwise feel are complex. It's called the IDEA framework, and by using it, you'll be able to unlock your team's creativity, generate more ideas and revenue, and solve problems more efficiently. Now, a lot of times when we hear the word workshop, we tend to think like 3-hour sessions, but a workshop can be 30 minutes, it can be 15 minutes, it can be 10 minutes, or it can be 6 hours. Workshops basically mean that we are changing the way that we're working, so we're not just letting the loudest voice in the room take control of the conversation. We have activities and strategies for how we're going to go from point A to point B to point C, so that we're actually moving towards our objectives, not just talking about things. And what is one of the biggest problems that everyone is trying to solve right now? How are we going to navigate and use AI in our organization? Now, AI is actually the reason facilitating effective workshops has become such a critical skill, because it's really all about navigating complexity at a time where there's also rapid acceleration of the technology and bringing people together to be like, how is our organization going to solve for this? And as organizations face this unprecedented pace of change, relying solely on external consultants for training and problem solving is not a sustainable approach. Instead, companies need to cultivate a pool of internal talent who have these skills of facilitation so that you can drive innovation from within your organization instead of always bringing people from the outside. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with people from the outside, but it's also important for those skills to translate to people internally as well. And by developing this team of skilled facilitators, your organization is going to become more agile and more responsive to the challenges and opportunities that are going to arise that are already here. Now, these individuals will also possess a very deep understanding of your organization's unique needs, the culture, goals, and the people, and they have the relationships built, which is going to allow them to design workshops that are tailored to your specific context. They can also really quickly identify and address any problems. They're better equipped to foster collaboration and therefore generating more innovative solutions, again, all aligned to your organization's objectives. However, Having these in-house facilitators ultimately is going to allow you to have a more proactive approach to problem solving, creating opportunity, and so much more. Whereas when you wait for people on the outside, like I said before, it's like, oh, we got to go through the contract process, we got to do this and we got to do that, all these other things. And this agility is really, really, really crucial in today's fast-paced business environment where you have to be able to see this update, adapt, and respond in a way that is going to work for your organization. And sometimes that time difference can be the difference between success and failure. And so by really investing in the development of facilitation skills within your organization, you're not only enhancing your team's capabilities, but you are creating this culture of continuous learning, collaboration, and innovation for the adults in your organization. As your facilitators apply the IDEA framework to design and lead engaging workshops, they are going to inspire their colleagues to think creatively. They're going to be sharing ideas more organically, not always maybe in the structured workshop time, allowing everybody to work more meaningfully towards these common goals. Doing this basically is going to help your organization thrive and stay ahead in an AI world. So let's get into the 4 steps of the IDEA framework. To do this, we're going to look at a scenario. Let's say we're going to use the example of Tara, who is a high school English teacher, and she's been following the different developments in Gen AI and is really excited about the possibilities for student learning, but also for teachers. And she believes that tools like ChatGPT can really help students improve their writing skills, save teachers' time, spark creativity, and just so much more. She wants to introduce Gen AI to her English teachers and explore ways that they can integrate these tools into their curriculum. And one of the things that she's noticed is that many of her colleagues find faculty meetings to be a bit unproductive, and a lot of the information in the meetings could have just been shared via email. So to address this issue and demonstrate the value of effective facilitation, she proposes to her principal to lead the next faculty meeting. And I really want to pause here because a lot of times this is the moment. This is the opportunity for you to be able to create that change. You see a challenge, you see a need, or you've discovered something that everybody else could benefit from, but you're not quite sure where the forum is. And I say this all the time. Don't wait for somebody else to come and start the conversation. If you see a need, if you see a way in which something can be done better, go to the person on your leadership team. In this case, if it's Tara as an English teacher, maybe she's going to go to her principal. If you are a principal and you see value, maybe go to your, superintendent. Don't be afraid to reach out to leadership to ask and suggest ideas, because I'm telling you, I work with so many of them and they all want those ideas. All right, so let's get back to Tara. Okay, so Tara's proposed the idea, principal says yes, and by using the IDEA framework, she can now design a workshop that's going to engage her fellow teachers, encourage them to share their ideas, their concerns, but also develop a plan for what a pilot might look like together. By turning this faculty meeting into a workshop, she is helping to create a culture of innovation and collaboration amongst her colleagues, which ultimately is going to lead to more knowledge, better student outcomes, and a more engaging learning experience for everyone involved. Okay, so step 1 is all about the I, which is for identify. So she's going to need to identify both the objectives and the audience. For example, an objective might be to discuss the benefits and challenges of Gen AI in the classroom. Maybe another objective is for us to be able to brainstorm ideas for different pilots that we could do. Now, her audience is the English department faculty, okay, in this scenario, who have many different probably experiences and many different perspectives. Some people might be really skeptical. Some people might be like, oh my God, yeah, I've been doing this too. So to make sure that this experience resonates with anyone, she's going to have to use really relatable examples that are going to illustrate the benefits of Gen AI, but also really leave time for discussion and collaboration to be able to address any concerns or any resistance. Now, by clearly defining her objectives and really tailoring this content to who she is speaking to, she's setting herself up for success to effectively facilitate a meeting that is going to spark interest and curiosity, and also help people see, wow, this is what it looks like when we facilitate something. So that's it. Step 1 is done. She's identified the audience and the objectives. Now on to step 2, which is the D for design. She's going to want to design engaging activities for the time frame. Now remember, she's got her objectives down. She knows her audience. And so now these activities are going to have to be something that are going to keep her colleagues motivated and involved throughout the entire meeting. One fantastic resource for designing workshop activities is called Session Lab. And if you've never heard of it before, Session Lab is an online platform that basically helps facilitators create, manage, organize workshops and any kind of training session. But my favorite part is this library that they have with so many different workshop exercises. So if you're looking for like an icebreaker, an energizer, if you're looking to brainstorm, if you're looking to problem solve or idea generate, Session Lab has everything organized by categories in their library. So you can basically just filter based on the objectives, the group size, and the time that you have. And then this is the part that I love the most. You can just drag and drop these pieces into your agenda. And one of the other things that I really like about when you're working with the agenda, you can color code the blocks, because there are moments where you don't realize, oh my God, I have way too much talking happening here. Oh my God, we had no time for reflection. Or oh my God, we need to take a break now. And so just by color coding your agenda, you are going to get a visual into what the experience is that you're crafting so that you can kind of really keep an eye on things. They have a timer in there so you can keep track of time, but you can also move things around, do it over a period of multiple days, share it with other people if you're facilitating. Session Lab is my number one go-to place for organizing and designing all of my meetings, where I can also really get inspiration for different exercises and activities as well. So basically, by using a tool like Session Lab and designing this mix of engaging activities, Tara can now design this faculty meeting that not only introduces Gen AI, but also models the kind of interactive, collaborative learning experiences that not that do we just want for students, but that we want for ourselves as adults as well. So whether you are planning a faculty meeting, a workshop, or any kind of group session, really remember to prioritize engagement and interaction. Another one of my favorite tools for being able to kind of capture data that, again, helps make the meeting and the thinking in the room visible is Slido. Two of my favorite features inside of Slido are the word cloud, because by asking people a question, for example, like, how do you feel about Gen AI? Automatically, you're going to get a visual in the room that other people can see as well, which is actually really important, because sometimes people think, I'm the only one who doesn't know how to use something, or I'm the only one who's feeling this way. And when all of a sudden they see this word cloud about how other people are feeling, it creates this shared sense of community in the room. And like I said, just makes the thinking visible. It's one of the biggest problems with how we conduct traditional meetings is that the thinking isn't visible. There's no place to be able to see the different ideas that were shared, to move them around, to make connections between them. So tools like Slido are amazing. I also love Slido for being able to quickly capture feedback and reflections. One of my favorite reflection prompts is, I used to think, and now I think. So for example, at the end of this session, Tara might do something as a reflection question like, when thinking about Gen AI in your English class, I used to think and now I think. And by giving people the access to the Slido, which is so easy, you just got to put in a pin, she can now capture all of this data and feedback about how people felt before and after, which is amazing data for when you're trying to make a case to expand the training. Maybe now she's just done it for this group of teachers at her site, but now using this data, she's able to now go and pitch this for maybe a district-wide training, and who knows where she can go from there. So whether you are planning, like I said, a faculty meeting, a workshop, or any kind of session, really prioritize engagement. And once you kind of build up a few of these tools, basically you'll be able to recycle them and use them in different ways, and it's really going to keep people actively involved. So we did part 1 and we did part 2 of the idea framework. Now, before we go to step 3, I want to share with you our new AI Leadership Toolkit. It's designed for people just like you who are responsible for perhaps the AI strategy inside your organization. Inside our Leadership Toolkit, you're going to find a ready-made presentation that you can customize, a survey you can use to find how people are using AI and how people feel about it. But my favorite is you're also going to get our card deck, which basically covers all the different steps when thinking about AI integration inside your organization. But the best part is, for example, if you are in the explore phase, which is where many people are, and your card is ethics and values, on the back of the card, it says, do our AI initiatives reflect our core values and the kind of organization we aspire to be? And ethics is really one of the biggest areas that people are grappling with when it comes to AI. And what I love about the complements to this card deck is each card deck comes with a workshop that you can facilitate as a 30 to 60 minute meeting to be able to dig deeper into this conversation. And so, it's just really nice, we found, for people to kind of have this like tangible set of conversations they can use. They can kind of lay them out. They can look at, okay, yes, we've done this one. We've done this one. Oh, okay, strategic alignment. Let's talk about this one. So what's our vision and our mission? Have we taken steps to align AI initiatives with our broader vision and mission? And then again, you look at how you've done that already and maybe the areas that you're kind of missing. And for any area that's missing, you can use our workshop strategy to facilitate that meeting internally inside your team. And of course, we have AI prompts that help accelerate that process to help you really use the data and the things that you've gathered to be able to move the conversation forward. And we've been testing this card deck actually over the past, I would say, 7 to 8 months with groups. And one of the biggest reasons we created this is because we find that a lot of people, when they're trying to have the conversation around AI strategy, building a roadmap, thinking about integration, it's so overwhelming. There's so much, they don't know where to start. And having these very specific questions, these step-by-step guidance really allows you to move forward in an intentional and purposeful way. So if you're interested, that is something that I will link for you down below. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But for now, let's get back to the workshop that Tara is designing using all of these resources for her teachers and our idea framework. Okay, so back to Tara. We've looked at the first 2 steps of the idea framework. Now let's do step 3. Step 3 is the E in IDEA, which is all about ensuring your success. So once you've identified your objectives in your audience, you have been able to design the engaging activities and experience, it's time to make sure that all the pieces for your successful workshop are up and running, which basically means logistics. This includes things like choosing the right venue, making sure there's enough seating for everyone. Do you need round tables? Is it okay if people are sitting in rows? What's a date and time that's going to work for everybody? Do you have the right cables you need to project things, sound? All of these little details should be taken care of. If you're doing something after school or at lunch, think about refreshments and just what you want the room to look like so you can organize all of these different pieces ahead of time.
Here we are, the calm before the storm. Absolutely beautiful location. And really excited to have this group here today getting started.
Lately, a lot that people will also ask is there a virtual option to join? So this happens so much of the time where I have a meeting or an in-person workshop, but I'll do something virtual before. And so here we are. Let me see if I can turn this. Doing a little virtual workshop. So keynote and a workshop today. Super exciting. It's also like the possibilities of like being in a remote world. You have so many opportunities available to you, but time management becomes essential. So whatever the technology it is that you're going to be using, just make sure you kind of have everything accounted for, like a little list, so that there are no sort of technical hiccups along the way. Maybe, Tara wants to use something like a collaborative whiteboard. If you're doing something virtually, there are tools like Canva and Mural that have these so that whether you're in person or whether maybe you're on a Zoom, everybody can participate and again, make that thinking visible. Another area to consider might be, do you need any handouts or resources? Are you going to be sharing a copy of slides? How are you going to give people access to something like that? So there's just some of like the logistical things you need to think of so that everything runs really smoothly. Last but not least, it's also really important in step 3 when you're thinking about ensuring success is to make sure that as a facilitator, you have everything you need. So we set up all the supplies and everything. Sometimes don't fully know where everybody's going to be seated with such a big group, so we just kind of set up everything here, and we're ready to go. These are our little sentence starters. Yesterday, I'm so excited. And And this can sometimes even be something as simple as like, how are you going to control the slides? So for example, one of my favorite ones is using Keynote. And one of the things that I love about Keynote is I can actually grab my phone, and Keynote's app on the phone has a little remote control. So I can actually control my presentation right from my phone without really needing to worry about Wi-Fi or like any of those things. So like I love designing my slides in Canva, bringing them into Keynote, but that's just what I do. You can do anything that works for you. So all of these different elements are really going to help you kind of just think ahead of time. What are the things that you need to be successful so that there's no hiccups along the way? But sometimes, no matter how much preparation you do, there's just something that's going to come up. And I actually sometimes find that that really humanizes the experience, because people are like, oh, okay, it's not just me who has those technology like glitches. It happens to everybody. So if something comes up, don't worry, you're fine. All right, so congratulations. You have now made it to step 4, which is the A in IDEA, which is all about being able to assess and figure out the follow-up. So first of all, congrats. You did your first meeting or workshop, or you're getting there. And to really maximize the impact of your session, you're going to want to make sure you assess its effectiveness and follow up with people. Now, I already shared earlier how you could use Slido as a reflection question, and being able to collect this kind of feedback from a survey is really helpful. If you don't want to use Slido, you can use something like Google Forms or, SurveyMonkey to basically be able to gather feedback on the structure, how much value people found from it, and of course, do they want more? You can use questions like, what key takeaways did you get from this meeting? How effective were the activities and discussions? What suggestions do you have for how we can continue the conversation? But like I shared earlier, my absolute favorite, when thinking about this topic, I used to think and now I think. And this is really where AI can also play a really powerful role, because of course, we're not going to analyze the survey results, our AI tools are. You can take that data, upload it in, ask the AI tools to prompt it for like what sentiment analysis, being able to look at key themes, what was the overall tone, what were the common areas that people mentioned. And of course, we want to review that, but the AI tools can really accelerate our ability to work with that data so that we can plan follow-up discussions and collaborations. Let's say, for example, many people expressed interest in exploring specific applications of Gen AI, or areas like, I want to learn more about creative writing, or I want to learn more about personalized feedback. Tara can then take that and cluster those pieces together to look at people's shared interests and kind of maybe create smaller groups for people to do more targeted discussions and actually start some of those pilot projects. Now, of course, remember, for any time we do a conversation or a project that's ongoing and Tara wants to get really fancy, she can actually create her own GPT that can actually assist the people she's designing for, in this case, the teachers, to take it to that next level, even if she's not there. I actually created one of these for my Spark framework, which I teach a lot in my workshops about how to prompt. And you can actually try it out here, but you can see before I would have to walk people through Spark and I would have to tell them everything and I would basically need to be there. But by training my GPT, which by the way, I have a video for, I'll link it here. But by training my own GPT, somebody can literally just click my GPT link, put in help, and it will act as if I am there. And so a GPT can be a really great way to be able to do some quality control for people who want to test and experiment, but maybe don't have the prompting skills or just the experience needed. And basically, when you are designing that GPT, you can put all of these different quality control parameters in. For example, anytime somebody's using Gen AI, make sure they are thinking through these 3 questions. Make sure any lesson that they design always has like an opening that connects to people's prior experiences. Make sure every lesson has something hands-on and interactive. Make sure the closing of every experience has a reflection question, like an exit ticket or something like that. So there are a lot of times where I think quality control becomes really important. It's great to get people excited about a topic. It's great to introduce it, but not everybody has the skills to really prompt effectively, which I know a lot of people say like, oh, anyone can prompt, but it's actually a lot more complex, especially when you want to do real work and real tasks. So if you are interested in learning how to build your own GPT and you pay for ChatGPT, again, their link is there for you to create that video. So I'm sure you can probably see now why facilitation is such a uniquely human skill. While AI tools provide tremendous help, ultimately you are the one interacting with the audience, adjusting based on what's happening in the room, kind of like feeling things out in real time. And by using the idea framework, you're going to be able to transform meetings into workshops that just allow people to get more done and feel more creative. People are going to leave your workshops feeling a sense of accomplishment and motivation rather than feeling uninspired and burdened the way Microsoft shared most people feel when they leave meetings, in this like to-do list that they have to now do. As you begin to really master this art of facilitation using this idea framework, you're going to become such an invaluable asset to your organization. You're going to be the person who's helping to create that culture of innovation, bringing forward game-changing ideas, helping your teams be more effective at problem solving. And so if you want to be irreplaceable in a world with AI, I really recommend looking into mastering the art of facilitation. The idea framework is here as one place to start to really be able to, like I said, really just unleash like potential in your organization, but also just make people happier. And of course, if you are looking for more resources and more guidance, feel free to follow me online. And of course, if you're interested, the AI Leadership Toolkit is there with a packaged set of workshops, strategies, presentation decks, survey that will allow you to focus on the implementation and the execution and upskilling of people inside your team. As always, if you have any questions on these materials or resources, feel free to reach out, and happy facilitating. And I'm excited to hear your stories. And please share, please share. What are your stories? Facilitation is definitely not something that you master in like one day. It takes time, it takes practice, but tools like Session Lab and really just organizing and writing everything out is going to give you the clarity you need to be like, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I got this, you got this, and I can't wait to hear your stories.